Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Chapter Website Q&A. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. On your computer desktop, you will see a panel in the upper right-hand corner. You're listening and using your computer speaker system by default. If you would prefer to join over the phone, just select telephone in the audio pane and the dial-in information will be displayed. You will have an opportunity to submit text questions to today's presenter by typing your questions into the questions pane of the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect these and address them during the Q&A session or during the presentation. Right now, I'd like to turn over to Nikki Grebe, and I'm going to change the screen for you, Nikki.
Okay. I wanted to start by just introducing some key folks from the Technology Committee. First, I have Kathy Ellis-Kellerman, who's from Salem-Keizer, and she is the chair of the Technology Committee. And then we have Sherry Kessinger, who is from San Antonio, and she is the website master for National, and also has developed the San Antonio site. And then I have myself, Nikki Grebe. I'm from Boise, and I have developed the Assistance League of Boise site and the templates. All right. So earlier today, I believe you were all emailed updated instructions. I would really encourage you to look through those. Even if you feel that you've gotten pretty comfortable with the site, we've added a lot of things, a lot of new sections, and I think that these will help. We've tried to improve upon areas where we know folks have struggled and add sections that we're missing, things like basic picture editing, formatting tips, events, accordions, forms, things like that. This is a living document, so expect changes to be sent out on a regular basis. Okay. So we got one request for topics, and that was to cover event calendar and newsletters. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the event calendar today, but we'd like to put off newsletters and basically the member-only pages until the next webinar. We're still working through some of the details with respect to those, and would hate to have us set you guys in a direction to then switch. Then I had a few areas that I've noticed folks have struggled with that I would like to talk to. The first is typography. Second is menus, and then last, Visual Composer. When I'm done with that, we'll just open up to general Q&A if we have time left. I guess I'd like to ask right now, is there anything else that you would really like covered in this webinar? If you do, go ahead and
type it in.
Sorry?
Type it in.
Yeah, type it in, and we'll see what we can cover here. Okay. I'm going to start with typography only because that's the simplest. And I wanted to let you guys know that we've just recently made some changes which we hope will simplify things. This is the Assistance League Theme 1 template that the Boise site is based on, and the majority of sites, chapter sites, have chosen this theme. There are headings, default heading stylings, which you can see here. This is the typography examples page. The Boise site has one, and I believe that is what I'm directing you to in the instructions. The template, the Boise template has one. That's the Assistance League Theme 1 template. And then all sites that were replicated in the last couple weeks will also have this page. And so if you want to see what these look like at any point, you can refer to this page. You'll notice that we've got our heading 1 and 2 that are black, then we have heading 3 and 4 that are blue. The new ones that I have added are these heading 5 and heading 6 that are the theme purple. I felt like on the About Us page, it's challenging to edit with that class board directors, and by adding these here, I believe it'll be much easier for folks to add purple headings in other places. I also have lightened up the hyperlink color here, the blue. I got feedback that it was difficult to read or difficult to distinguish from the body text, so hopefully this is easier for folks. If at any point you want to override any of these settings, you can do so on your page. You can choose heading 3, which is that capitalized text, and change its color to red. You can do the same with the hyperlinks. If you find that you're wanting it all the time, you would these are things that are in code, and so you would have to make a request to either David or myself to change for your template alone. Okay? I'm going to switch now to the San Antonio or Assistance League Theme 2 examples. Now this we just changed. Previously, header 3 through 6 were the grays, and we found that they looked boring, for lack of a better word. And so we have added the navy and the light blue, which are in line with the theme colors. We've also the hyperlink here is red. As you hover over it, you see it gets a little darker red. Oh, I remember. You'll notice none of these are capitalized. That actually was a choice of Sherry's because she wanted the flexibility. You can easily capitalize your text and still choose header 3. And so this way, it just allows you to use the header with non-capitalized words or capitalize them yourself. Okay. Any questions on typography?
Not seeing this so far.
Okay.
Not seeing question. Carol asked if we're recording. Yes, we are recording.
All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the next topic, which is menus. Okay. So I know you guys have seen the dashboard. I like to work on this side of it more often than on this top dashboard. And so you'll see me looking through here quite often. I would like to show the site. So I'm just going to click here and visit the site. This is a trick I would like to show you guys. You'll see as I'm hovering over visit site, which is what I would like to put on a new page and a tab, and I'm dragging and dropping it up here. And you see the arrow, and I drop it, and now it opens a new tab with that content that I just asked to see. I like to have several tabs open and move between them. It makes it much easier to be productive this way. I'm not switching between pages in one window. Okay. So when it loads, when it finishes loading, you'll see this is the Boise site. And I wanted to show you that this is the top menu here. National site, contact us, and that's log out because I'm logged in. I know that several of you struggle with seeing this when you're working on it, as you have notifications that cover up the menu. So I just wanted to show you that. Of course, this is your main menu right here. And then you have a footer menu that's at the bottom of the page, at the bottom of every page. Come on. Right here. And I've added my photo release document so it's easy for folks to download. And I think the theme has the privacy policy by default. I know some folks are confused with the window sizes, so I thought I'd just go over that right now. The top menu is displayed at 767 pixels and larger, and I'm just going to, you see how I've gone over here to the side of my window and I'm just dragging it? My mouse changed to the arrows.
Yeah.
And this, oops, I hope I didn't go too far. This clearly is less than 992 pixels wide, my window is, because what's appeared is this menu toggle, which instead of having the main menu have the text going horizontally, it is now switched to this vertical mode. And as I hover over an item, the submenus drop down. And if I shrink my window smaller, you'll see that the top menu disappears. And now what happens is the Contact Us member resources, Contact Us national site and log out buttons have been moved onto this window. Please, when you make modifications to the main menu, do not delete those buttons. There's, again, the Contact Us, National Site, Member Login, and Log Out buttons are there specifically for when your top menu goes away. They are hidden at window sizes larger than 767. Okay, so now let's just go and try to add something to the menu. I'm going to go back to my page with my dashboard. And menu is here under Appearance. I'm going to hover over it. I'm going to drag it up so I open my menu. Okay. When you first get to the page, you'll see this select a menu to edit, and you go ahead and drop down on that, and it's going to have all of the menus for the site. So you can see our main menu, our top menu, and our footer menu. So select the one that you would like to modify, and hit the select button. It's going to bring up the menu. Wow, the performance is really slow. I apologize.
I noticed that. It's interesting. Also, there's someone doing dishes or something in the background of one of our microphones.
Okay, All right, this lists all of my pages. If it is a submenu, it is indented and labeled with submenu or sub-item. Say I want to add a new page or new menu item. You must have an existing page if you want to add that. So say I wanted to go ahead and add an events menu. I would click on the items I wanted. Say I wanted both my events listing and the events grid, and then I would hit add to menu. When they get added, they're always added at the bottom of the menu, and then you move them where you want them. So I think I would like them up above my member resources, so I'm just going to click on it and drag it up to where I would like it. Right there. I think I just accidentally got it in as under member resources, so I'm just going to pick it back up and put it there. And now I want events grid to actually be a sub menu of events month listing, which I know doesn't make sense, but go with me here. I'm going to force it to be indented. And then there you go. It's there. When you're done, you would hit Save Menu. There is another option, and this instead of, you don't actually have to have a page. You could choose to put a link to another site, or say a link to a something you've loaded into your media library, say a document. Maybe it's your thrift shop schedule. Maybe it's a application for membership, and you want to put that there. You click on the custom links, and then you enter what you want your button to be. Say it's thrift shop schedule. Oops. I should go and get the thrift shop schedule from my media library. So, I'm just going to go ahead and open that up in another window to look at and grab a file.
So, Nikki, if I know the Las Vegas chapter has a chapter web, which is an external web-based membership management program, would they just put that URL there and just call it chapter, and then their members could go to that?
Right, correct. That's a perfect example. National has the Red Star website that they link to. So I come to my media library. I'm just going to open up any document here so I can show you how to get the URL. It's right over here, so I just copy that. Go back to my menu and paste it where the URL is. Wow, it's slow. And then add that to the menu and move from there. I did want to just show you some of the different settings in the menu. I'll just open up any old one. So, of course, you've got your label. Say you don't want it to say exactly what the title of your page was. You can modify that here. If you want it visible to only members that are logged in for your chapter, you would say logged in users, and then subscriber. They must have a minimum role of subscriber. So all of your chapter members will be set up as subscribers to your chapter so they can view your member-only pages. Say you want to add an icon. You can select here and choose from a lot of icons. If you want to delete one, you just go ahead and push the remove here. I would like to where's this one? I would like to first just discourage you from using submenus a lot. You'll notice that I chose not to. I have just my program submenu, and I have my member resources submenu, which is only accessible to my chapter members. I've done that because, of course, I'm loading a page. In my opinion, this, what just happened? Oh, it's because the page is loading. It's kind of clumsy to move around in. And if they get too long, especially on a phone, see, as I move and say programs opens, and then I want to get back to, oh shoot, something ran off the screen, and on smartphones, if someone's trying to view your site on their phone in landscape mode, they're not going to get very many of these visible at a time, and it's hard to scroll on a phone because to get down to the lower member or menu items, because you have to touch the screen to move it, and touching it is selecting a menu item. So hence why I have tried to use this sparingly.
And Nikki, one comment I had is that when you look at it, when you pull your menu down and you look at it in a phone mode, I think it helps to think about if someone's on their phone and they're on our site, why? They're mobile right now. Probably they want to contact you. They want to find out where the thrift shop is. You know, something basic like that. They're probably not researching all of your programs or something like that. They're doing something that people would do mobily. So you might want to use that to consider what is on the top of your menu when you're in that small mode.
Well, Kathy, you can't reorder the menu.
So you cannot move About Us and Programs?
The ones you could move are the top menu.
Yeah.
You could choose to put those at the bottom or put those at the top. And I think you're bringing this up because they might want to find out where your thrift store is and your map is on the Contact Us, or they might want to get your telephone number easily. Mm-hmm. And so maybe you want that at the top of your menu.
Yeah.
Those are hidden on the main menu when it's in this mode, when it's larger than 767, and so you certainly have flexibility to put it wherever you want when you're on a phone. Okay, one last thing. You'll notice that the About Us page has a lot of content on it. I've noticed that a lot of chapters, when asked on the application, said, yes, I have a board of directors, and yes, I have I have my financial documents, and so on and so on, and so, oh yeah, okay, I need a submenu for that. Well, I would discourage you from having both a submenu and the information on your main page. If you've got your board of directors here, don't have it a submenu with another page where you have to maintain the content in two locations. Just go ahead and delete the submenu if you initially requested it, and it's just going to be a duplication of information. Okay, any questions on menus before I move on?
I am not seeing any questions. Oh, wait. We may want to substitute CW for the member login button. Can you do this? So Carol is asking, they have Chapter Web, and instead of a member login button, they want the Chapter Web button. And what I would say, and you can address this too, is Chapter Hub takes your menus off your site to Chapter Web, Carol. But the member login brings you into not only your site, but the national site. So I think you're going to want both logins.
Well, so I believe what you will want, oh, you're saying you have no member-only pages. You want chapter web login.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to redirect to chapter web. Yes, you could do that if, as Kathy said, if you want them to be able to move between the national site and yours, you probably, what I would suggest is you have the website member login page and or menu item, and then display the chapter web menu item only when they're logged in.
We're not going to have any, hi, this is Carol, I'm sorry. Kathy unmuted me. We're not going to have member pages. This is really a public site.
As Kathy said, though, when they're logged into your site, they are also logging into national. So if they want to click on this national site link, after they're logged in, it takes them to the national site, logged in, and they can view all of the national pages that are member-only pages. So if you want them to be able to move seamlessly between your site and national logged in, then you would want to have the login on your site. I think it's just a preference thing. You can choose to do whatever you think makes the most sense.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I think I would like to move on to Visual Composer. I wanted to start, well, in the instructions, there is a link to tutorials for Visual Composer. They are excellent. If you have questions about just how to move around Visual Composer or about how to use an element, a specific element in Visual Composer, you can find those in the tutorial link that we gave you. All right. So I wanted to start, oh, I thought I did, here we go, back here, by looking at the About Us and Visual Composer home pages. So again, I'm just going to edit the About Us page, drag it up here, drop it. I probably already had it open, but oh well. If you have Visual Composer content on the page already, it will open up with the default editor being Visual Composer. And there it went. It just took a bit of time to load. Okay. Probably should just double. Now, this page is composed of, it's still loading. Okay, sorry, went down too far. This page is composed of one row with two columns, and when I get here, okay, one row here. This is the row element. If you kind of hover over it, does it tell you that? No, of course not. Okay, one row with two columns. And if you look at this, this tells you the columns. This is 2/3 by 1/3. So the left side is 2/3 and the right side is 1/3. If you want to edit a row, you would go ahead and click here. If you want to clone a row, you click on this icon here. If you want to delete it, of course, that icon. And then they've got several elements inside the page. You can hover over them. You can see what the element is. This one is a custom heading, and again, you know, those same icons to edit, clone, and delete. And then this side, if I click on the left side, I get this icon that shows me that I can drag and move it. I just hold it down and I drag an item, and I can move it somewhere else. Say I wanted to move it over here. So it's quite handy, easy to use. This, you see, I have a separator bar here. If I wanted to, as you look at pages, if you see things that you like, edit the page and see how they've constructed it. How do I get that element? Okay, that's a text box, and so on. Here is a YouTube video at the bottom, and you can see what they've used is a video player element. We'll speak to that a little bit more later. Now the home page, let me see if I have it up. Do I have it up? I believe I do. Okay. The home page is constructed a little differently from this one. It's got multiple rows in it. So here this, of course, the Revolution slider doesn't show up on here. It's configured elsewhere. But it does show you that the first section on the home page contains a pageable container. And this is the philanthropic programs carousel. It's got a button on it here, learn more. So again, I just encourage you to look at these and see what you like and don't like. Here is another row, a second row, and you can see it's broken by a white space. So you know it's not part of the row above. Here's a row inside of this one row. This one is set to single width. This one is set to 1/3 by 1/3 by 1/3. And that's the star bar. Page down, another row with a button, with a grid, and so on. So you can construct your pages with lots of different combinations of elements and so on. So now I just wanted to show, say you wanted to create your page by default, how might you go about it? So I'm going to add a new one. I click on the Add New under Pages, and I'm dragging it up to create a new window. By default, because I have no content on it, and no Visual Composer content on it, it's just going to come up blank. I need to add a page title, so I'm just going to say test page. I think. Okay. And if I want to use Visual Composer, I click on this back-end editor button here. And it's going to switch me to Visual Composer editing mode. I encourage you to take a look at both elements and templates. This is the element button. This is the template button. I'm just going to quickly show you the template. Okay. All right. There are a rich set of templates in here. If you ever want to create a page from something that's already created, you can kind of scroll through, see if there's one that you like. What I also like to do is look at these and learn from them. Just like I was saying with the About Us and Visual Composer page, you can look at any of these templates. You just insert one of them and then look at how they built it up. I am not going to start with the default template. Instead, I'm going to start by just adding elements. So I push on the element button, the plus sign, and I always like to start with a row because I'm assuming I'm going to start putting things in. Worst case, I just leave it as one width, or I can add multiple. So say I want to add an item. I probably should have let you see what that said, but I clicked on that plus, and let's say I just want to put a heading on. I can do that in a text box. That's fairly easy, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to show you that there is the custom heading. And, oh, oops. The text is right here. My custom, oops. One thing I have noticed that folks have been missing is if you do not check this Use Theme Default Font Family by default, it's going to use that font that was listed down here instead of the theme fonts. And you want to use the theme fonts to have consistency throughout the page. So go ahead and check that box and then insert it. Now you'll notice there are now a plus above to prepend to this column, or a plus or at the bottom. This should, yeah, add to the top, above, or add to the bottom. And so I'm just going to add below it. And let's just go ahead and I'm going to add another row because I can. And now I want it to be, let's go ahead and say it's going to be 1/2 by 1/2. I click on that. And maybe I want to put a picture in here. So I click on the plus. And I'm going to look for the single image.
Third row, third one.
Thank you. I'm going to choose that. I'm going to click on an image. And this is going to open up to my media library. We just finished teen retail dressing this last week, and I've got lots of nice pictures from that. And so I'm just going to go ahead and from my Explorer, I'm going to drag it onto into my media file, and it's going to automatically upload. Oh, good, it's not too big. I didn't think to look at that first. So I just go ahead and choose Set Image. And I would encourage you every time you enter an element to go ahead and look at what your choices are. I don't want it to be really small. I don't want it to be thumbnail, so I'm going to go ahead and say large. It is, when you put an image inside a single image element, it will constrain that image to the size of the element. And so because I have made it, put it in a half width column, it will never get larger than half the width of a page. If you insert a picture into a text box, that is not the case. So I discourage you from putting pictures into text boxes unless you have a real reason for it. For instance, you want to wrap your text around a picture. Instead, I would encourage you to enter your text above, beside, using the second column over here to put your text, or below.
And Nikki, when you're done, I have a question from Anne.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure of it. I might just unmute her. Her question is, why aren't the plus items alpha? They seem to be in no order, and when looking for an image, you actually choose single image.
I don't know.
I think that's the media library she's talking about, and that is just the way the media library is.
I think the media library is organized in the order that you uploaded the pictures, so from newest to oldest. I think what she was asking was, why are the elements not listed in alphabetical order so I can easily go to S and find single image?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's her question.
I think they try to do it by most commonly used.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But yeah, it is a struggle to find the ones you want. And of course, if your window is larger, they're ordered, you know, differently, and
Yeah, and
so
you
on.
get used to the icons after a while because you'll find that you'll use certain elements you will get comfortable with, and so you'll know to go find that element.
Right.
And also, if an element is already on a page and you want to use it again, you just copy it. You just...
Yep. I was going to show that next.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, here you know you can center the picture. I would encourage you to go ahead and center the picture. If you want to add borders, you can add borders. And so just play around and look at them and see what they are. So I've gone ahead now and I've entered that picture. And I like the formatting that I applied to it. Say I had put, you know, a border on it and centered it. So instead of doing it again, having to go through all those steps again, I just go ahead and replicate it like that, and then I drag it where the one I replicated where I want it, over here, and then I just go change this picture by editing it and pointing it to a different picture. Okay. There are a couple other elements I wanted to make sure that I showed you. And that is the video player and Google Maps. So I can click on this one if I want to make this prepend, if I want to add it to this box, or I can click on this if I want to add something to below as a new element. So I clicked on that bottom X because I don't want it to be part of that other segment. I'm just going to go ahead and enter another row. You notice I almost always do that by default. Unless you want something the full width of your page, you're going to want to put things into rows. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it 2/3 by 1/3 this time. By the way, actually, you know what? No, I'm just going to go ahead and create a custom. I don't like the ones that they've given me, so I'm going to do, I'm not coming up with anything too creative, so let's just go with 1/3, 2/3. You can do these in sixths, so you can go as small as 1/6 plus 4/6 plus 1/6 and things like that. Maybe you want to put icons around text in those 1/6 columns, things like that. So it has gone ahead and updated that for me. And I'm going to add a video player here on the right. And so I just go find that. It was right there. Shoot.
Yeah.
Find the video player. And this.
There it is.
I'm sorry? Yeah. So I'm going to put a YouTube in here. This is similar to the pictures. I discourage you from putting a YouTube video link in a text file. It will overrun the size of your text box and really looks odd when you get onto a phone. Especially in portrait mode. It displays off your page and makes you still can view the video by scrolling over, but it looks very weird. So I've gone ahead and just put the national YouTube link here, and so I'm just going to paste it in here and hit save, and now I have a YouTube video. Let's just go ahead and add a text box here. And say something like, oh, it's going to come up. I was going to type in here, or see all the exciting things Systems League is doing.
And Nikki mentioned that you see right above that paragraph. So we know that it's using the paragraph typography. And if you click that down arrow,
yes,
you can choose different types of type
Right. So say I wanted the typography that I went over before is all here. And so say I want it to be that capital blue font. I choose heading 3. Now, you notice it doesn't look like heading 3. What you see here is not what is displayed. The theme styling gets displayed with the page, not here in the editor. Say you wanted to change the color of that text. You could click on this and make it a different color. Like I said, if you wanted to change some to red, you could do that there. So I'm going to hit save. The other one is I do know that folks have been struggling with the Google Maps instructions. We have tried to improve on them. Hopefully that addresses it, but I thought I'd just show you it right now. Oh, there it was, of course. Google Maps was right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and insert the Google Maps icon or element. And the instructions here say, visit Google Maps to create your map. Find the location, then click on the cog symbol, share or embed the map, and then copy the iframe into it. So there is no cog, and I think that's what's confusing folks. They have eliminated that step. So it just when I clicked on the Google Maps link they gave me, it just opens up here to Google Maps, and I'm going to type my address in here.
Actually, you can just type the name of your chapter too, and it'll find it.
Oh,
Well.
If you just type Assistance League of Boise, it'll go right there.
Okay.
It's just kind of
too late. I've copied that, so I'm just going to go with it.
That's okay.
And it should find it. Is it doing it? It appears that it is. What did I do wrong? All right, we're going to type Assistance League of Boise. And it has found it. You just go straight to the share icon. Click on it. And this is the share link. If you wanted to just put a link to your map, you could copy that. I usually like to embed the map. Oh no, Firefox is not responding. Okay. I usually like to embed the map. And it gives me this iframe source code up here that's already highlighted. You just copy that. I'm just going to do Control-C. And then you go back to your page that you were adding. You delete what's here in the iframe. And then you paste the one that you just copied. I think I didn't get it. There we go. And then you save it. I like to preview pages before I update them, and so I'm just going to go click on that and see what I've just created.
Nikki, I have a question just technically. When you have this many pages open on a browser, don't you think it slows it down a bit?
It can. I suspect it has something to do with the webinar going on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
In that running that, and I have noticed other times that's been slower. So I probably should have changed the other picture, but I didn't, so here it is. And I could have chosen a different font for my custom heading. It does give you the option to choose which font you want. There's my YouTube video. It's not the prettiest looking page, but hopefully it helped you see how you could construct your own pages as well. Okay, any questions on Visual Composer?
I'm not seeing any. Oh, can a YouTube video be put in a post?
Yes, it can. You can add anything to the content of a post, but it will not show up in the excerpt that shows in a grid. So on the home page, if you put a YouTube video in the post, it would just show the link to the YouTube video, but then when they edit the post, it would show this video in this mode. Does that make sense? Posts, the excerpts that go in the grid do not show any formatting. You actually have to open up posts to view them nicely. Let's see. There was, I guess, other thing that I had thought to show you, and that was just the other commonly used elements. I like to use the separator, so so there's breaks between sections. Image carousel. I see several of you have used image carousels. This allows you to put in a number of different pictures that it rotates between. I would, on an image carousel, try to use pictures of the same orientation. It looks much nicer. So for instance, if they're all landscape mode, it looks better than if you have a mix of landscape and portrait pictures. You can do it. It just looks nicer, in my opinion, if you don't. Let's see. There is the Go button somewhere that I use quite a bit. So if you want to put a button on the page, you would use this, and then you can either link it to an existing page or link it to something in your media library, just like you would do on a menu. The icons. Some folks like to fancy their pages up with icons, and that is right here. I think Kathy has done an excellent job on some of the member-only pages using icons to make the page interesting. And then last, I wanted to show the accordion that we typically use. There are two accordions. This is the one that we typically use, the CSS3 accordion. It allows you to have multiple sections open at once in an accordion versus the other accordion that's listed first only allows you to have one open at a time. Oh, I don't know where it is. Okay, and then if you want to insert a form, there is a gravity form one, which is, you had this it. Actually, I had it. It's here?
No. It was, you just had to go down. That's okay.
Okay. You can structure your if you're having trouble finding things, like I can go to just the content, and empty space is one some folks use. If you want to put spaces between things without having to use padding or margins, you can use empty space. A lot of those extensions, like the gravity form, I think might be in here. This is where you would find the accordion. It must be over here. Oh well. Does anyone see it?
Right here. Bottom third.
Right here. Okay. If you wanted to put in a grid of pictures, you could do a media grid. so on. Play around with these. Just see what they do. This is really rich and nice.
I have a question. How is the Revolution slider and Carousel different? And then Alicia, I see your question too. I'll get to that next.
They are both carousels. The Revolution slider offers quite a bit more customization on the slides than the carousel does. For instance, you can do overlays. You can
you can do a grid.
Well, that you would insert a grid.
No, I mean, you can insert 4 or 5 different pictures.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, you can. But in the image carousel, it's one picture at a time.
Yes. And this allows you also to, what was I thinking? You can apply transitions uniquely and so on. It's just a lot, it's a much more feature-rich version of a carousel, image carousel.
And I have a question. Hi, is anyone using an online scheduling system for Operation School Bell and Thrift Shop volunteers?
There are chapters that do. Actually, Las Vegas does. They were talking about
Chapter Web. Yeah.
Chapter Web. We are currently investigating a couple different tools that we plan to add to the website that would offer you online, we call it shift scheduling. It also has calendars that well, what we would like to offer are calendars, reservations, so like room reservations or computer reservations, and then shift scheduling for, say, the thrift store or any of your philanthropies. And so that should be coming soon. I'm sure others have other tools that they use as well. Right now, the Boise site just does it all via Google Sheets. And we'll be looking to move them over to the system once it's in place with the website. Okay? Is it time to move on to forms?
Sure.
I'm just going to go ahead and shut that down, because if it happens to be performance, that might help. Okay, so events. I wanted to show you, okay, the theme comes with a robust events module. And you enter events into this events section of the dashboard. And then they pre-populate a number of pages. So I'm going to start with those. The first is a page which is basically an events listing. It's called Future and Past, and so it has a number of future events here listed. I've just thrown in 3 pretty generic things so that you have examples, and you see as you hover over them, the picture will show the date. I can go visit the go read more about it by clicking on the link. Oh, what's up with the page not found? What have I done? Okay. Yeah, I know, Kathy.
Story of our lives.
You saw that it had a past button up here. If I wanted to go view past events, I would click on this and it would switch to the ones that were in the past. Another look is this month listing that it allows you to show, and it basically shows you events for the month. And you then choose, you can move through your months by clicking on this. This bar here is called the Featured Events bar, and you can choose to put it on any page. I happen to just put it on this page and not on the previous page that I showed you. It cycles through anything that you have flagged as a featured event, which you set up when you're creating your events, and it shows you past meetings or past events. And then this is the grid form, and basically it just this one I didn't have a picture for, versus these I just put in some sample pictures so you could see what they look like. And then you can hover over it and get the date, time, location. If I want to view the event, I can click on it, and it will give me instructions. Then the final page that it populates is a calendar. And this is a real simple thing because I've only got 3 of them in here. And it shows my month of February and March, and say I wanted to actually view one, I would click on it, and why do I bet that it's not going to work for me? It's not. So I actually, I hope that Jan is okay with this. I've been impressed with how she has used it, and so I wanted to show a couple of her pages. It's from Assistance League of Norman, and she has created a special events grid. She has filtered on the category special events and are showing on this page just her special events. Okay? And then she has a calendar that has all of her events. Or you see she set up several categories up here as examples. And so her calendar is much more rich and full, and I can tell you her links are going to work. So let's go to one of her events. And this will show you the single event page. You can add all sorts of information to the page. What's it doing? Aha! She hasn't added any text here, but you can see I can click on this and I can get directions from where I am to the location. And should she have put pictures and text in here, it would show up right under here. Okay. It thinks I moved over there. All right, I now would like to just show you how you add events. Okay. So again, you edit them from your dashboard over here on events. I'm just going to drag up here so I can show you events. And they behave very similar to posts. I'm just going to close some other things down as I'm getting warnings that things aren't responding. Oh, well, let me just add a new one. So to add a new event, you click on this Add New right here on underneath the Events section of the dashboard. And similar to a post, you're going to add, I'm going to add our Bunko Social when it stops spinning. You see here we have event categories, and similar to posts, you can set up a good, as many different ones as you want. And so I'm going to say that this is a chapter meeting. And then I'm going to add some text, I think. Well, say I wanted to add text. Come to our Bunko social. Make new friends. Whatever. Then if I wanted to set a picture, I would set the featured image just like a post. And page on down. And here's where the interesting stuff happens. There's a details meta box for events. Is it a featured event? Do I want it to show up on that featured events bar? No. What's the start date of the event? It's going to be in 2 days. Oops, and it's going to be at, we start early at 10 a.m. It's going to be 3 hours long. I have to do the 25th again, and let's see what shows up. Oh, okay, it's going to be there. And then where is it? The first address is a description. And then I actually put the address in here, which I was hoping I still had that address. And it's going to pre-populate the map for me, and that's how they go ahead and get the directions. This does support registration. If you do that, I believe you need to have some of the other plugins enabled and would have to contact them to get your PayPal account and everything set up. You know, I didn't want to go there. I think most folks who have events already have ways to process this, and you know, if you want to pave the way on this, I guess you should think about contacting OptiWeb to try to work through that process. You can add sponsors if you wanted. If it was a reoccurring meeting, you would choose it here. Is it a certain date and every month, or is it a certain day of the week? On the, you know, it's the second whatever of second Sunday of the week. I thought it was second day of the month. I see. Okay, and then you have to say how many times you want to repeat, so on and so on. The last field of interest is this excerpt. This shows up on the grid. So when you put have a grid, the only things that show up is your picture with the title, and then those icons which give you the time, location, etc., and this text. So if you wanted text to show up, you need to enter it here. And then you just go ahead and save your events by publishing it. If you wanted to add more categories, you do so under Event Categories over here on the left. I encourage you to think carefully about your categories if you're wanting to display things on pages or grids filtered. So for instance, say you want to separate your special events for the public side of the website versus the chapter meetings from the put that on the members only page or members only side of the site. You would create categories and then filter your pages and calendar based on those categories. You can set a color for a category. If you wanted to show up differently on the calendar. If you recall, Norman's calendar had different colors. Those are there because of the categories have been assigned a color. That is not coming up for me. I want to just wrap up with how you could actually create your own. Here's how you would create categories. Of course, I've moved away. And then you just enter your name of your category there. You can choose a color, and you save it. All right. Here's a page. I'm just going to go ahead and edit it and show you what's behind the scenes. The page actually comes up blank because there is no content on the page. It populates the page from the events that you've entered. But the things of interest are, if you want to create a new page, you need to set a few things. First, this is just telling me it's timed out somewhere, so I'm telling it to just keep trying. Okay. All right, it should go here. You need to set this page attributes template to events. It triggers adding settings below the page content here that are specific to events. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. So on this page, I have the featured event bar disabled. Should I want to show it, I would click on this and choose enabled. You saw I showed you the different pages that you could have. That future and past look versus the monthly listing versus the grid. You pick which one you want. And each of these gives you a different setting. For instance, future and past says, what's the maximum number of events you want to show, and do you want to filter by your categories that you have? So say I just wanted to show special events, I would choose that here. The grid has a few different things. It lets you choose, again, your category, but say you don't like it being 4 by 4, you could make it 3 by 3 or 2 by 2. And then you just save it. Okay, are there any questions on the events module before we just open it up to general questions?
I'm not seeing any specifics right now. Phyllis, you have your hand raised. Is there someone who has a question they want to ask? And I can unmute you. I'm not now. Phyllis says she's fine.
Okay. Does anybody have just a question about anything else that they've been struggling with? Or, hey, if you want us to take a look at your page, you know, I'm happy to pull up someone else's page and we can troubleshoot something if you'd like.
I did know one thing that you will see as you go along. Like, for instance, up at the top, you see this 9 and the circle. There are always plugins. There are always things that need to be updated. Don't update anything. Everything has to be done on the development server. So they have a mirror of this whole universe of our sites. They have a whole second server that they call the development server. They mirror the current contents, everything, over to the development server. They upgrade everything there, and they make sure it works and that it doesn't make another plugin stop working or something like that. Then when they see that everything works, then they update it on the real site. And that's why we say you can activate anything you want or deactivate it, but don't update it and don't bring in a new plugin. And do you want to just show them all of the this might be a bit much for them now, but go to the plugins and they can just see what is there. I'm not saying don't activate them all because you'll go nuts, but we have a lot of plugins that you can see only 10 are active on this one. There's 38 total. And there are...
Say you didn't like your breadcrumbs? I should show you what breadcrumbs are. Say you didn't like your breadcrumbs, you could disable this plugin. Just hit deactivate. And I'm hoping the page will come up and we move on. The breadcrumbs are the text it's basically a map. A map of your site where people can move. So, say they want to go back to the home page, they can click on this. Say they want to go to national, they can go here. And this shows up if say I choose. If you set up your page hierarchy correctly, meaning I have set the parent for Operation School Bell Elementary to be my philanthropic programs page, which is right here. When this comes up now, it shows that Operation School Bell is a sub of philanthropic programs, and I can move between this Operation School Bell and philanthropic programs. So a breadcrumb is useful if you organize your pages well, and for people to navigate throughout your site. If you don't like them, you can disable them from showing by disabling that plugin over here. This is the thing that we use for events. The forms tool that we're using is Gravity Forms. These are alphabetized, by the way. And the Gravity Forms is, I somehow can't seem to get that middle section.
You wouldn't see Gravity Forms in the plugins because it is activated network-wide.
That's right. Thank you. No wonder I wasn't seeing it. So
you're the one that told me.
The forms are over here. Yep. And we have added that to the instructions. We have added instructions on events as well. So on. Okay. Well, do we have anything else, or should we just call it?
We could call it. I do have a question on how do you add OSB calendars. If you're talking about shift scheduling, that is a different creature, and that is what we're looking at right now. We've really looked for a long time for the perfect shift scheduling and volunteer sign-up combo plugin, and we think we may have found it. But we've asked them to put it on the development server, and we have to work with it for a while to make sure it's what we want. And if so, then we'll move it over to the regular server. Yes?
I suspect this question is coming from Lisa from El Paso.
Yes, it is.
And Lisa, I did go ahead. There are several things we could have done. Your schedule is a Word document. You can't preview a document like that on a web page, so we couldn't just add your document to a web page. We could have tried to cut and paste your document content onto a web page. That looked quite ugly. I also tried to save an image of your calendar to a page, that worked okay. I saved an image to your library, media library, and then I inserted it as a single image. I thought that that would be cumbersome for you to do each month, and there were some formatting issues in the document itself that didn't make it very pleasing. What I ended up doing was just adding a link for you that opens up a document. So here it is. So it just links to your media library. Remember when I was the file that is uploaded into your media library. Remember when I showed you that you could create a menu item with a, uh-oh, what happened here? Did you set it back maybe? Oh, it's the thrift shop calendar. Oops, I did it with the thrift shop calendar. There we go. And so it's just downloading the document and opening it up for them to view here. Now, I would encourage you, if you're going to do this, to convert it to PDF and display the PDF. There is one other path that I think in the long run is what we're going to want to do, and that is using out of the box or another, what would you call it, Kathy? What do you call it? Document storage solution. Mm-hmm. We are investigating out of the box and are looking at maybe one other to help with the resource libraries. And so you would store your document, this document, in something, say, Dropbox or Google Docs, and then Google Drive, I guess, and then it can display your documents. I didn't want to send you that direction right now because, say we choose not to use out of the box, you would have to redo it. Here are some examples of what the out of the box pages could look like. You can choose to just give a listing of documents in a file, like I have done here. I have just set up my directories. I have a directory for chapter member information, and I have these 5 files in it, and so it shows all of these 5 files, and then I have another folder with board of directors, and called Board of Directors and Committees with a bunch of files in it. The nice part about this is when I can add and delete a file at will by just going into Dropbox, and then this list gets updated automatically. They can click on a document, and it brings up a preview of it. They can then choose to download it, and so on. It's quite a nice plug-in. And it's just displaying my document that is in Dropbox. It allows me to move between it and the other documents that are in that folder by just clicking on these or arrowing. Of course, it's taking a while because of my performance. Oh, and I bet I picked one that's really big to pull up. Another one, no, that one, way is the way the national site has put them in accordions. And then as you open up the accordion, it shows the file in preview mode. It's quite nice. So for now, though, Lisa, if you're okay with just having the link to the document, I would leave it that way. In the next week or two, we should have the other path selected, and we can update that. I apologize for my performance here, folks. I closed almost everything down, and I'm still having issues with it. Well, anything else?
Yeah. Well, that might be enough for now. I want to thank Nikki for not just this, but almost everything you see that's been programmed or coded on these pages was fine-tuned by Nikki. He's really spent about a year working on this. It's been pretty impressive. And we do hope to have more of these. We would like to have them on a regular basis, but just be very topic specific, where today maybe it's only half an hour long. We'll talk just about the event calendar or just about the resource library or something like that, depending on the resources you would like to see.
Things that I would like to talk about in the future are, as she said, resource library with out of the box or something else. I'd like to talk through phones, formatting your pages so they look good on phones. We could spend some time on picture formatting, resizing, things like that. And I think there's a whole thing around padding, margins, responsive options, things like that. So again, let us know if there's something you want to hear more about and see. Or again, if you have a page that you're struggling with and you're willing to let everybody see it, we can go in and just start reviewing it, and I can show you what I would do to make it look better. This is an example of an accordion where it's just that's a picture of an accordion.
Go to the
newsletter.
National Committee info. Yeah, or e-newsletter. Yeah, that'll show it.
And so this might be a way to do newsletters if you wanted to do your newsletters like this. I just did mine
out of the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, I just want to be able to dump the next one in there. I don't want to have to come in and create another accordion item with it. I just want to say go to the newsletters and pick the one you want to see. So when
that's the
March comes out, I just drop it in drop in the box or Dropbox.
Mm-hmm. Are members paying a fee for Dropbox or using Google? Most members I know are using Dropbox, the free version. There is Google is free, and one of the things I've been investigating, I need to start a conversation on that, do a little more, is there is a Google Apps service you can get that is sort of like their version of Office 365, and they charge $5 to $10 a month per user, but it is free to nonprofits, and it has far more administrative rights. You can restrict viewing. You can have domain-based emails. There's a lot you can do with that Google Apps for nonprofits. So that's something might be looking into. And this out of the box also has a version for Google Drive.
So Dropbox, you get I believe it is 2 gig free, and National has yet to hit that with all of their documents, and they have a very robust resource library. I believe I have used with all of my documents for Boise 20 meg. I am nowhere. I can't even fathom using 2 gig of memory unless maybe if I started putting pictures up there. That is the only reason why you would ever get close to that size, and so it's free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I never did show you the e-news links, did I? So what's nice about it is, it just opens up with a little preview, and then you can choose to
pop it in.
Yeah, if I would.
It's at the top.
There we go. I want to view it full, so there. I'm opening it into another page. So, okay.
Okay, so why don't we call that good for today? And there will be a survey sent to everyone afterwards. I want to especially want to thank Shirley Lesiak for stepping up at the last minute. She organized and ran this webinar. And I want to thank Sherry, who is the webmaster. She has worked diligently and many long hours on the sites with all of us. And I want to thank you all for stepping up and creating a new website. So thank you all, and we're going to turn the screens off, and we're done with the webinar.